So in this video, we're going to take a quick look at how to use assets created in Postman and API Fortress. So the assets that we can leverage in API Fortress are Postman collections, Postman environments, and the global variables from collections as well. In order to use them, we need to import them, and to do so, we're actually going to start from the HTTP client, which, if you've never accessed it before, we just go to the Tools menu, and then HTTP client. And then from here, importing a Postman collection, which is the first step, is as easy as just clicking the import button right here. So I'll click it, and I will navigate to the correct folder. I have my collection right here. I hit open, and API Fortress will import it for me. So that collection is called DASTUFF. If I filter by that, I can see that all four of the calls that are in my collection have populated into the HTTP client. Now I can access these from anywhere in the platform, which is pretty great. Once I've imported these calls from the collection, we'll notice that there's a number of parameters in here. That's because my collection itself had some parameterized data in it. API Fortress is capable of converting the Postman collections variables into API Fortress parsable variables. So that's what's happened here. But we still need definitions for these actual variables here. So let's create a test, and let's see how we can actually bring in the variables that are associated, or the variable definitions that are associated with these collections. So I'm going to click New Test. I'm just going to call it Video Demo, because that's what we're doing. And I'm going to hit Compose. I'm going to open the HTTP client, and I'm going to filter again for my collection. And here it is right here. So if I export this to the test itself, I can see that my call is here. But again, I need definitions for these. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to bring in the associated environment file that came with my Postman collection. I'm going to open Datasets. I'm going to click the little Postman logo here. And then I'm just going to select my environment and hit Open. And then all of my environmental variables will populate in here. So now I have definitions for the actual variables that exist in this call that I brought in with my collection. So I've got my collection, I've got my environments. The last thing that I want to do is I want to define my global scale variables. And in order to do that, I'm going to open up the Vault. The Vault, of course, is where we can store variables that are accessible either across multiple projects or across the entirety of the platform with the Global Vault. I'm going to open the Vault for the project that I was just in, so a Postman demo. I'm going to click Variables, and I'm just going to go ahead and click Import Variables from Postman. I'm going to click Globals, because that's where my global variables are stored. Hit OK, and they just repopulated because I already did this before, but now I actually have definitions for my domain, my path, my ID, all of the kind of higher level global parameters that I need in order to execute my test. So now I've got my collection, my environmental variables, and my global variables all imported into API Fortress from Postman with just a few clicks. And from here, I can really get to the work of actually functionally testing my API. So that's all for this video. If you guys have any questions at all, as always, shoot an email to support@apifortress.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.